All right, good afternoon, everyone. Minute after noon today, so let's get started. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I see we have our chief and a number of our other speakers lined up for this afternoon here. Appreciate all the members of the press who are present for this afternoon's announcement. Good morning. I'm San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria, and I'm pleased to be joined this afternoon by San Diego Police Chief David Nisleit, Norma Sandoval, who is the chair of our Citizens Advisory Board on Police and Community Relations. Norma, thank you for being here this afternoon. And Michael Simon, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships for Zen City. As Mayor of San Diego, I've continually said that one of my most important concerns when it comes to public safety is making sure that we're continuing to build the trust between our police department and the communities that we're honored to serve. That's why today, in partnership with Zen City, we are proud to be announcing a new survey tool that will ensure that our San Diego Police Department is able to better understand public safety and community concerns. Now, many of you know that San Diego has long done extensive data collection surrounding policing and public safety for years now. So this is where I'd like to just take a moment to thank Chief Nisleit for choosing to advance the ways in which we engage with our residents through this new public safety engagement tool produced by Zen City. It's called Blockwise. Zen City is leading across channel insights and analytics platform that takes civic engagement to the next level, ensuring that local governments can hear from all of our corners of our community in making sure that their sentiments, their concerns, their compliments are understood and captured when we are asking for public feedback. Through this platform, we're able to use real-time survey data to better understand and respond to local concerns, attitudes, and issues. To explain more about this technology and the initiative that we're pursuing this afternoon, I'll turn things over to our police chief. Again, Chief David Nisleit. Chief, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Gloria, our mayor, and thank you, sir, for your leadership in this and allowing us to bring Zen City to the city of San Diego. I met Mike from Zen City a few years ago while attending a major city chiefs conference. And just hearing from other chiefs that were using this tool, I was amazed. But at that time, it just wasn't feasible to bring it here to San Diego. But I'm very happy to say that today we're here and it's live now here in the city. And like I said, seeing other cities like Washington, D.C., and then using this tool to inform and help make decisions, something that I want to also do. We obviously, the San Diego Police Department, rely on the communities to help us in keeping this one of the safest large cities in the nation. And this survey is going to really help us in this arena. It's going to allow us to know how the residents feel about police in their communities. It's going to allow us to make improvements based on that feedback. It's going to allow us to kind of take a look at how that sentiment changes over time. I want to talk just a brief minute about where you will see the survey. You'll see it on places including websites, social media, blogs, and other areas. I want to make certain everybody understands these surveys are voluntary, they're anonymous, and they take less than 5 minutes to complete. We will also, within probably 60 days-ish roughly, we'll be working with Zen City to create public dashboards to share these results once the data has been gathered. This is a tool, is a great tool for us to engage our communities, to really see how they feel about this department and what is happening in their neighborhoods. I also, again, want to say, if you see the survey, please take the time to fill it out. I want to thank Mayor Gloria, the team over at Zen City, Norma Sandoval from the Community Advisory Board on Police Community Relations, and everybody else from the city and my team for bringing this forward. And now I'd like to introduce Mike Simon, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships for Zen City.
Thanks, Chief. I'll take a moment just as we'll put a couple of slides up on the screen just to show those who are here today, a couple of illustrations of what we're talking about. But this is a very exciting day. We did have a conversation now a couple of years ago in Washington, D.C. at the Major City Chiefs Conference about bringing this to San Diego. And San Diego has always been a very desirable city for us to partner with because it's a city that people love to live in. And I think that this is a product that we hope only enhances San Diego as a great destination for people to want to live in, to want to start a business in, to want to raise their children in. And the reason is because this product enables the city of San Diego and the police department to be more responsive to the changing needs and concerns of the residents of San Diego in all four corners of the community. And I'll talk a little about how it works, but the goal here is, we manage what we can measure. And for decades, public safety has gotten very, very good at measuring and understanding crime rate. And the reduction of crime is the goal of policing. But of course, policing is about much more than just reducing crime. It's about creating safety. It's about being responsive to the needs of the communities that we serve. And so forward-thinking agencies and leaders like Chief, like Mayor Gloria, bringing this to San Diego, are really sort of leaning into where policing is going and being more responsive. Let me bring up a little about how it works, because I think it's important to underscore. If you want to go to the next slide. This technology aims to sort of flip the way we engage the community and enhance the way we engage the community by, if you think about the way that community engagement has worked, for time immemorial, it's been about people coming to us. We're going to have a community meeting, we're going to have a feedback session, we're going to put our officers or our personnel out in the field and ask people to come share their opinion with us. We're going to keep doing those things. But this augments that by meeting residents where they are and going to where they already are spending their time and attention. And we're, by the way, doing it in every neighborhood in 7 languages: English, Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Arabic, Somali, and Korean. What we do is we start with the census data that tells us about the makeup of every neighborhood of San Diego. We know by race, by age, by sex, by income, by education level, and by language what the makeup is of those neighborhoods. And so we're going to serve digital advertisements across the digital products that are already consumed by residents of San Diego. No one has to go to a particular app or go to a particular website or download anything in order to participate. We're going to be where you already are. So whether you're on Instagram looking for Instagram stories, whether you're reading the Bible in Spanish in an app, whether you're on Facebook, or whether you're on the website of one of the newspapers or media companies here in San Diego, we'll be serving advertisements that allow residents of San Diego to opt in to take a survey. Short format, very, very resident focused. A lot of emphasis put on the experience of what the respondent experience is like. And the reason is we want to really, really lower the barriers for inclusion and go to all 4 corners of the community. And again, you're going to be seeing this in all kinds of places and hopefully all kinds of people that wouldn't ordinarily think to share their opinion or that their voice matters. We want to include all those voices, service them, and then use them in how we actually manage this department and be responsive to the residents. If we go to the next slide, I'll show you a little what this looks like. The survey started today at noon Pacific time. So residents of San Diego will start seeing them all over the internet, on their devices, on their laptops, on their tablets. Upwards of 89% of San Diego residents have a smartphone. And so this is a great way to get to a really, really diverse population, people who wouldn't ordinarily show up. You have to go to the next slide. We're asking a series of substantive numerical questions, asking people to evaluate how they feel in their neighborhood. Do they feel safe? We're asking people to evaluate their trust in the department, whether or not they feel treated fairly by the officers that serve them. And we're also asking them what their priorities are. And again, if you think about the trends in policing across the country, very rapidly evolving changes, and they vary by city, they vary by neighborhood, they vary by demographic and geographic group, and what we want policing to do for us as residents of San Diego. So this survey also will prompt the residents of San Diego to offer their open-ended feedback. That feedback will be digested by the department and by the city's leaders and acted on. And we'll also be able to see the relationship for the first time between how are the priorities of the residents of San Diego changing by area of the city? How good of a job are we doing on meeting those expectations? And by the way, what's the relationship between resident priorities, feeling of safety, and actual crime rate, so we can help make San Diego, again, a community people really want to live in, want to raise their families in, want to come and visit. You'll see this manifested in a couple of ways if you go to the next slide. One of them is real-time measures of trust and safety, as I mentioned. That's something that within the next couple of months, the department's going to start publishing on its website. So alongside crime statistics, we'll be able to see level of trust in the department by area of the city, feeling of safety by area of the city, and then also, of course, if you go to the next slide, those areas of priority, which is exciting because you can't manage what you don't measure. And so we'll be able to provide this measurement to the department, to city leaders, to all the stakeholders in public safety around the city, so we can have an open, honest conversation about how good of a job are we doing in meeting the priorities of the residents that we serve. And if you go one more slide here, excited to welcome San Diego to a group of forward-thinking cities that are taking this step to be more responsive to their communities and prioritize trust and safety. San Diego, one of the biggest cities that's doing this. Really, really excited to partner with a forward-thinking city like San Diego and welcome this partnership with Zen City. So thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Chief. And happy to pass the baton to Momo Sandoval, who is the chair of the Citizens Advisory Board on Police Community Relations.
Hello, thank you, Mr. Simon. I want to first and foremost thank our city, the city's leadership for looking into this, both the mayor as well as chief. I really have looked into this and I find it very effective. So the Citizens Advisory Board has always encouraged our community to reach out, as well as our police department, to have communication, as well as building the relationship of perceptions, as well as being able to look at what are the real issues that our community is frustrated by and that needs the police department to look into. The dashboard is a vehicle by which this is going to be able to happen. Anyone can communicate on, not just on trust, but as they were saying, the different targets that the city is looking at, and it's going to provide data that's meaningful. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with AB 953, which the intent was also to look at the disparities in policing, but this vehicle, this dashboard, is a more proactive way in which police department is reaching out to hear everyone's voice, and regardless of whether or not they were stopped by police. And so I think that this is one vehicle that the community has been looking for, to be able to communicate directly of how they feel. And as a board chair and community member, I think it's my responsibility and our board members to disseminate this information and continue to promote community voice, so that we can bring that to the table and have the issues addressed. So I commend them again and look forward to collaborating to make this an effective vehicle.
Chair Sandoval, thank you so much for those comments and for your service to the city on our advisory board. Thank you, Mr. Simon, for walking us through Zen City and the survey tool. And Chief, thank you for initiating this effort to include more public participation when it comes to police sentiment. With that, I think I'll ask Ashley Bailey from our communications department to help facilitate any questions that we may have. We have a number of minutes still remaining, and I believe Ms. Bailey is on the line here.
Here, it looks like we have one hand raised from Andrew Bowen.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, Chief Police. Hello, thank you for inviting us today. A couple questions. How much is this contract with Zen City going to cost, and where is that coming from in the budget? And then it seems like to actually see the questions in this survey, we would have to just stumble across it online. So I'm wondering if you can make the questions available to all of us so we can look at all of them.
I'll toss that question to the chief, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So the contract is $240,000. And as far as the questions, we'll be pushing out a press release here momentarily after we conclude here, and those questions will be included.
And Chief, the source of those funds in the budget?
Yeah, it's going to be from either seized assets or COPS money, so not from the general fund.
Thank you, Andrew.
And then next we have Eric Tregesser.
Hi, sorry, you're doubling up on KPBS questions today. This question is also for the chief. I'm wondering, it seems like we've had a lot of studies already that have shown, more arrests in communities of color, more use of force in communities of color. And so I'm wondering, what your response is to that, and why you feel like having another survey that's going to produce more data would make any difference.
Well, this is going to, we're not just looking singularly at arrests and contacts, and we've talked about this in the past. Our crime doesn't happen along the demographic line. So, but what I'm very interested in, obviously those studies are very important, but also this is about sentiment about the crime, the fear of crime, what's important to these community members from all four corners of the city, whether you're talking down the border all the way up by the Wild Animal Park and anywhere and everywhere in between. And so it's really looking at that, taking a snapshot on it from a weekly, a monthly, and annual basis, making some decisions, getting feedback, and actually allowing those to be part of how you move forward in operations, maybe in policy, but also looking at it after a critical incident. We have a couple homicides in a certain area. Does that sentiment change? Does the fear factor go up in that community, and what we can then do to make certain that we drive that fear back down? And so that's the way I really look at Zen City and how it is going to be a very important tool for us. And again, I think it was back in 2018 that I came across Mike in Washington, D.C. and started talking about this. That's how long I've been looking at this. I really believe it is a great tool. I really believe it is going to help us not only understand community concerns even better, but also understanding trust and legitimacy in law enforcement between the community. And that's why I think it's important. I think it's different than the service that you previously mentioned.
Anyone else, Ashley?
Nope, there's nobody else.
If we don't, you all know where to find us, between Ashley, the chief's office, my office. And as the chief mentioned, we'll be putting out some stuff in writing for folks to get a look at. Any follow-up, do let us know. Chief, thank you again for initiating this announcement today. Thank you, Zen City, for your partnership. Norma, thank you for your service. And thank you all for being here to help us explain to the public what we're trying to do here and inviting their participation and helping us to make sure that we do the very, very best at the important job of keeping our community safe. So thank you for helping us spread the word today. With that, we'll stay adjourned and be available for any questions if you have them as follow-ups. Thanks, everybody.